body language. But let's move to another topic. Politics, zoning. What's your opinion on zoning and certain positions being the birthright of certain people for certain years?
If they're going to do zoning, then let's do it in all truth. It shouldn't just be at the federal level. If we're going to do zoning, let's zone even in the states. You know this better as well as I do. From our states, we are, you want to run for office, you'll look at it like you're joking. So it's not enough to just say, okay, let's zone and okay, presidency from the north or from the south. If people that want to fight for zone, they should also fight for zone in their states. But put that aside. For me, I'm not a fan of zoning. And because I feel it oftentimes restricts us from presenting the best. So our best 11 might not come from, at this point, might not come from particular parts. So why do we have to now say, you're restricting choices and what people come with?
But where's the problem from? Because we have Nigeria right now, and we now have a situation where, off the top of everybody's head, they have a President Buhari, they have an Atiku, they have a Tambawal, and maybe a Kwankwaso already, all from the same region.
But there's a fire share on him.
Valid.
We should take him serious.
Should we?
We should. He's running.
Okay.
He's running. He has his plans out.
Okay,
he has declared.
So there's a fire share running, but let's be real with the Nigeria we know. Off the top of your head, there is a mindset which has already pushed this to one part of the country, and we're now forced to choose one of them. There's even a potential El-Rufai who may come into the picture at some point, whether he says it or not, but that's a potential. But if you notice, it's this same zoning which has now become our mindset, and most people wouldn't even bother because they just feel there's no point.
If you go back in history, right? PDP, which became the dominant party from 1999, had a zoning arrangement.
Yes.
So once the president from here, they renewed vice president, senate speaker, all the works, and that's how they kept going till 2011, where Tambo scattered everything, became speaker against the zoning arrangement, is deputy from the southeast and all of that. So in law, there's nothing like there's no zoning, even within the parties. Jonathan upended the zoning arrangement. APC allowed everybody to run. Saraki did. So there's no, even within the parties, there's no law that says this zoning has to happen.
So Adeomi, of voting, federal character and birthrights, what's your view on this? Of zoning, actually.
The only way I can be in support of zoning is if we had like gender zoning and age zoning.
Are you being politically correct right now?
No, because I don't support zoning. Okay. If we have to like zone, then let us say yes, gender zoning, then a male this year, then a female next year, or a 60, 70-year-old gerontocrat this year, and a teenager next year. I mean, that's zoning in some form. I mean, the thing is, zoning doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It already removes that layer of competitiveness. I think that federal character is like a just thing, for a country with a lot of ethnicities like Nigeria and the complexities, around the arrangement. But the presidency of this country is not joke. The presidency of this country, the country of about 180 million people, has to be competitive. We need to feel like our best people. It is so annoying that I have no enthusiasm for 2019 because the names I've been familiar with. I mean, go back into like Nigeria's 80s. The names are still there. I mean, I don't want to do like the name calling, but let us just think of the people that are already seeming to be like the top two contenders. Ex-VP Atiku has been in democracy for as long as you can think about. I think
in the 90s.
Yes, in the 90s against Abiola and Bashir Tofa. I mean, this is someone that's been in the system. So as much as you might like his stance, his policy views, the fact that I want to state categorically there is a much better person than President Buhari. I just want to put that out so whoever wants to get offended should.
No, it's okay for people to get off the fence and actually choose sides.
But I am not enthusiastic about his candidacy, even at that. The point is, we need like a new class. A new class of politicians, a new class of people, from across the spectrum. So if the Southeast has the best man, I think they should go for it. If the Southwest has the best person, they should present the candidates. What I want to see, happen in 2019 is probably a sort of independent party coming up.
No, but how would that work? Because if you take away a Buhari, an Atiku, a Tambawa, a Kwankwaso, a Saraki, and El-Rufai out of the picture, which other names will you call? Judging based on the fact that we just saw someone as brilliant as Osita Chidoka contest for a gubernatorial election, and maybe because of the party or for some reason, he would have stood a great chance. I feel he would have made a good governor of his state. I think I like his opinions and views and plans for the state. But if you take away the big names we know, which other names can you drop that can actually win these elections, that can connect with the rural areas and those people who only know those big names?
I think that it has been like the lack of competition, really. In Nigeria, we are not seeing a lot of upsets because people expect elections to go a particular way. But trust me, a lot of people are coming out of the system, out of the norms, despite the fact that their parties would not give them the ticket because of where they are coming from, because they have no political connections or background. But people are doing it. There are few cases in Nigeria, where it has happened, or almost. Alex Oti of Abia State ran as a bank MD with ABDA, which has really literally had no great political history, in Abia State, and ran an insurgent campaign, which a lot of people believed, even the appeal court, that he won the elections. Now it is possible. There's a lack of strategy because we continue to sit on the fence and we continue to think that the electoral positions are birthrights of certain people, of certain groups. Then we don't think out of the box. The biggest political party in Nigeria today is the unregistered voters. And why do we think they are disinterested? Can we bring out a candidate that is going to motivate them? Would there be a candidate that will motivate the young people who would rather sit down tweeting on election day? Is there somebody they will be enthusiastic about enough to vote for? And I mean, these are the kind of things we are starting to see in other parts of the country. I mean, people keep talking about folks like Macron. Macron ran as an alternative candidate. He didn't belong to any of the main leading parties, but he believed that there were a number of people that were enthusiastic about a new vision of France. And we need that kind of candidate, someone that has a new vision of Nigeria, someone that can make people enthusiastic. For Macron, for instance, he had about 80,000 volunteers who knocked on $5 million. We don't see that kind of heavy lifting in Nigerian politics. The last kind of grassroots canvassing effort I can think of was the neighbor to neighbor. But I don't even have the stats around that because we didn't document these things. But imagine 80,000 people knocking on doors, talking to 5 million people about voting for a candidate. If we have a 5 million shift in our voter register, then you can be sure that another person can win.
But food for thought, and I know Mark has something to say. Okay, chip.
And one thing we feel a lot of times in Nigeria is the power that we voters hold is almost, what would I use the word, like a facade. And I'll explain it this way. So we keep calling the same names because we do not have more power to pick them. Now let's make a comparison with the United States because more or less I will use the word benchmark. We benchmark our system against theirs. We copy the presidential system from them. They have primaries. Parties have primaries where party members, not delegates, vote. Here in Nigeria, you have delegates. So you have less than average of 5,000 people. Because in 2011, PDP had 7,000. 2014, 2011, 2014, the PC had 4,000. So 5,500 people average pick the candidate that about 30 million voters will vote for. And how are those 5,000 people selected? It's not a fair process either. You have to find where all appointees of the party and government are members. So you see people, so right now, someone can look at Nigerian podcast and I'm like, oh, nothing's happening. But what's happening is power brokers. There's a lot of power broking going on. So if these power brokers present us to a cat and a dog, those are our choices.
So this wouldn't necessarily change. And when you talk about alternative candidates, whether we like it or not, Buhari was the alternative who came with the change slogan, who came with, I've done this before, this is what I can do now. You now have people like, and then so you add the alternative candidate and you also add the young people. So Macron was alternative when he was young. You have Donald Trump who had alternative ideas. In Nigeria, you have the likes of Dino Melaye. You have the governor of Kogi State. You have about 4 House of Representatives members from Bauchi State who are below in their 40s, between 30s to 40s. So we've had these alternative candidates who have come in, but nothing has really changed. So is it about the people, or is it about how much rubbish we as the people have chosen to take from our elected representatives?
I think it's both, right? I mean, I wouldn't call President Buhari an alternative candidate. But to me, it represents like the face of the deep establishment. I mean, something popular within their circles then called the Kaduna Mafia. He's been a former military dictator, and his records were there. So I think that
he had integrity.
I think what we had,
didn't he have integrity?
It's doubtful on all. It's doubtful on all levels, from history to the present. But that's not the thing we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is the alternative is just someone that is out of that system that, as I said, brokers and handpicks. So what we do is a number of people sit down behind closed doors and tell us these are your choices. And it feels like we have the power to really choose, but we do not. So what is going to happen is if we get angry enough with this government, we are going to vote for the next person that the establishment, that the system throws to us. And Nigeria needs to get into this wave. We need to believe that we can do it. There is an anti-establishment wave in the world right now. I mean, a lot of people argue against it, whether, it is the right thing, whether the ultra-nationalist parties or whatnot. But my own argument is that it is giving more power to the voter than ever before. So the concept of the forgotten people, the concept of the silent majority, the concept of people revolting at the polls is starting to happen. And we need that happening in Nigeria. We need someone that can work hard for these votes. As far as I'm concerned, the voter register is showing us about 69 million registered voters, and about 23 million people came out. If you look at the data set, it shows something. A lot of change hasn't happened in terms of the people that vote in Nigeria. So why can't we have candidates that can work hard and look at the 40 million Nigerians who don't believe in the system, who are just frustrated, who cannot be bothered? There's a lot of work to do. So when I talk about an alternative, it's probably somebody that is coming with fresh ideas, with new energy.
Supported by the same old people.
Well, I think what you do is it's a coalition that powers you. But the most important thing is we need politicians that feel more beholden to the voters than the establishment, because you still need some level of this coalition to make things work for you.
Which I agree with. But Mark,